Don't make this critical mistake with your policies like I did in Call of Dragons. Policies are extra technology that really help you out, and some of them are really good, and others are really not. So stick around in this video for the things you really need to know about your policies. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and I played the beta of Call of Dragons for the last 6 months. And after go live, I can't believe I still made a critical mistake with my policies 3 days in to this new account. But let me just show you what that mistake is and talk about the best places to put your precious policy currency at the start of the season. So if we open up the notice board, which around City Hall level 8, you can start to work on your policies. There's going to be this little throne. You click on the throne. This is basically extra technology, and the tech you get here is incredible. The most noteworthy is military expansion, giving you extra legion capacity. That means every march that leaves your city can have more troops in it, and that's obviously a big deal. But the mistake that I was telling you about at the very start of the video is resource-based healing. Now, look, I come from Rise of Kingdoms. I spent $100,000 in that game, which I mention because I am a whale in these sorts of games, and I generally expect to have to spend a ridiculous amount of resources healing my troops when I fight. And what I was told is that the whales in the earliest servers in Call of Dragons, even with the resource-based healing, found it insanely expensive. So expensive that they were like, F it, it's better to just train new troops than it is to resource heal your troops, which I found to be astonishing. So even though I was casually playing the beta for the last 6 months, I really didn't experience the fact that both free-to-play players and pay-to-win players should choose the free healing. So when you get to this choice of, hey, medical supplies or medic recruitment, go with the route on the bottom, free healing. Same is true as you get further down, medical seminars or healthcare development, you go with the free healing. We're going to talk more about what that does in just a minute, but essentially the way that you handle this in the end game is that you want to have so many troops in Call of Dragons that with just some free healing, you're getting enough troops back fast enough that you're able to sustain your fighting. And this is a little bit different than Rise of Kingdoms. In fact, it's very different than Rise of Kingdoms because in Rise of Kingdoms, you expect to basically lose all your troops fighting every single time you enter a kingdom versus kingdom encounter. But in Call of Dragons, you really don't have that many situations where troops are going to die. And they do exist, and they are important, and you do lose troops, but they're not nearly as many. And the emphasis is so much further on open field fighting in this game than it is on situations where you lose your troops, which is really interesting. And there's a lot more nuance to this that I won't cover in this video. But it just was really interesting for me to hear, Season 1 whales talk about pass fights and fort rallies as being sort of like toxic because you just lose so many troops. And the other thing that's really weird about this is that unlike in Rise of Kingdoms, where there's just so many kingdoms that are deep into the endgame and they've been there for years, there are literally no kingdoms in that state in Call of Dragons, which means that you're in the earliest of development. So if I haven't convinced you already that the free healing is the way to go, let me just say that even the whales felt like they did not have the resources to do this. And I talked to a guy who literally had spent 1 billion mana field fighting, doing resource healing, and then decided, I can't do this anymore. I have to respec to free healing. Wow. So, we'll talk about respecs for this in just a minute. There is apparently a way to do it, and I'll get to that. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, do me a huge favor. Throw a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I have been making 2 videos a day about Call of Dragons because the game is just brand new, and I'm honestly loving playing this game right now. So if you could honor my commitment to bringing you more than 1 video a day, which is actually insane, do me that huge favor of just throwing a like on the vid and subscribing to the channel for more Call of Dragons content. In terms of the technologies you really want to gun for, it's the free healing all the way down below on the bottom. It's also the military expansion. And I would say very obviously that getting experience gain boost for your heroes and also double arcane dust chance is really, really good. Look, at the start of a season, you're in an arms race, and a part of that arms race is just leveling up your heroes. And so just getting more for everything you already are doing is a win, right? So the other thing that I found surprising is that at the start of a season, resource gathering speed is also really good and is a way to get experience. I made a video that if you have not seen this, you absolutely must watch it. I'll have a card up in the top and also remind you at the end. But by gathering resources, I have put a truly astonishing number of levels on my heroes. I mean, we are 3.5 days into the server's existence, and I got a lot of heroes leveled up a fair amount. A lot of that is just from gathering, and I won't double back and cover the same thing I covered in that other video. I'll remind you at the end. All that to say, gathering resources is synonymous with gaining experience, and that is really important to understand. So resource gathering is a really, really good pickup. And what I love about the policies, by the way, is that once you get past medical seminars, you can unlock the ability to manufacture barricades. Now, this is, kind of cool. You can increase your barricade level. You can increase your engineering when you're destroying barricades. But importantly, when I played in the beta, I remember policies that increased your combat effectiveness very dramatically, and none of those are here. And I absolutely love that they removed the combat-related policies past barricade manufacturing. That is a huge freaking win. Now, in order to sort of continue further here, I believe I had to take metallurgy, sustainable forestry, wrought iron, and mana purification to 3. Taking those to 3 enabled me to unlock military expansion. I think it was 3. It might have been 5. And then from here, I can get the final technologies for free or resource-based healing. Now, up top, this is a choice between a percentage-based boost. So, you get to choose either hospital, further increase daily resource healing based on a percentage of your total legions. So 3% of your total legions. Now, in case you were wondering, there is a limit to your healing in this game. If you haven't seen, you go to your hospital. And that limit, you can see over here, my daily free healing is 81,062, a rather weird number. And then my resource-based healing is 104,000 because I chose the wrong research there in the policy board. So my, resource-based healing, I can do actually a fair amount of that. So it's not to say that it's bad to have some optionality to do resource healing, but, relying on it entirely is a mistake. So the more troops you have, the more you get from the benefit of this. 3% of your total number of legions, you get an increase to that amount for your daily resource-based healing. Instead, I want to go with the smaller number, 1.5% base boost of my free healing. And I will select that right now. Money where my mouth is. Free healing, baby. And I will enhance that over here. The daily free healing, I can increase by another 4%, which is pretty dope. Now, from here, there is the bottom tree. And I also want to do the bottom tree. So you get to do both of these. What a tragedy if you actually could have only done one and I didn't realize it and had made my choice. But no, you can do both. And you can either do your resource-based healing at your hospital or your free healing. And of course, I'm going to choose the free healing. Once again, the resource-based healing is double what the free healing is. But this is just a flat boost. So whereas the other one was a percentage-based boost based off of your total number of troops, this is just a flat boost, and in this case, I'm going to choose the daily free healing of 20k. I smash select, and bada boom, I've got that. And I can boost it, by the way, by another 80,000. So that's 80,000 troops that will heal for free every day. And even if I didn't need to heal the max number of troops that I get from my free healing, I believe that it is also increasing the speed with which I heal troops, which is just a win, right? So that is good. We got the boost here. You can see it. It's immediately at play, which is great. So there's the daily free healing. And it tells me my hospital level, the amount I'm getting from policies, and the amount I guess I'm getting from healing speed, which I have none, although I think there's 10% at VIP 15, which I am surprisingly close to getting. And I'll have a card in the end screen about VIP if you want to see how I gemmed VIP 14 like an absolute mad lad. So from here, what technologies should you work on? Look, I think that after you get your way sort of down the tree, I will point out that the cost of some of these are just way higher. So it takes about the same amount of time is for an equivalent level to be further down the tree, but it costs you a lot more of this precious currency that you get from the Dragon Trail. It's called Prestige. Also, you can get a little bit from the Behemoth Acolytes. So these are like the Holy Site Guardians in Rise of Kingdoms. It's actually surprising. You can get a little bit of Prestige. Now, look, if you're really short on Prestige, you can spend a small amount of gems in your Dragon Trail, and I do this every day to sort of accelerate things because I do have a whale start going on here. But I will use my free quick loot and then 3 gemmed quick loots. And I do that at the end of the day, after I've teched up, after I've trained troops, after I have pushed as far as I can in the Dragon Trail. At the end of literally every day, I make it a habit to try to get more stars. And then I will go and I will quick loot it. And the thing that I will call your attention to is that this is, in some ways, very reminiscent of crystal technology in Rise of Kingdoms. You have special technology, it resets every season, and you can spend on it to get further. But unlike in Rise of Kingdoms, where you literally have to spend dollars in order to actually get progress, and you're looking at like $1,500 to max stuff out, I have spent, I want to say, no more than, let's call it 5,000 gems, gemming some of this research to accelerate it. No matter how long the research takes, whether it's 5 minutes or 15 hours, you can spend 80 gems to accelerate it. So I spent maybe, let's call it 5K gems over here, and like not even 1,000 gems. I mean, I guess it would be like 80 times 3. We've had 3 days of that so far. So, I mean, I just have barely spent any gems on this. So the idea that this is comparable to crystal technology in Rise of Kingdoms really doesn't hold water. I mean, this is 100 times better. But I mean, it's like not even the same universe of better. So even free to play, you could gem some of this stuff if you hoarded your gems. Whereas in Rise of Kingdoms, there simply is no equivalent option. You're either spending $1,500 on your crystal technology to max it as fast as possible, or you aren't. Okay. In this game, I feel like this seasonal technology, if we're going to have it, this is just way better. I mean, I really hope that they do not add this sort of pay to win combat stats back into here, because then it moves the game in the direction of pay to win, and just the game just doesn't need more of that. I think there's plenty of mechanisms already. And man, I just have really been enjoying this game. Now, let's say that you actually made a really critical mistake in your policy board. Now, I really didn't make, I would call it a critical mistake. I only got one of those in the resource-based healing, and I'll probably be doing some amount of resource-based healing anyways. But if you go to your Augur Stone in your city, and you look through the sort of chronicles that are in here, you can see that not far away from the start of the season, there's something called Resurgence. So if you wanted to reset your policies, you can resurge or do a resurgence. And what this will do is actually surprising. It changes your affiliated region, and it puts 80% of your troops into your hospital, and you can just completely reset your policy board and start over, but you lose some of the currency necessary to fill out your policy board again. So it's really expensive to do. Almost, I mean, I would say actually it is prohibitively expensive to do, but you can do it, which is why, certainly in my case, like I made one little mistake. Even if I had done half of the technologies for resource-based healing and then did the other half free healing, I think I'm going to be fine with the configuration that I have. We'll see how I end up feeling about it, but I do plan to do some amount of resource-based healing anyways. Like, I just don't find it that surprising. Although, I mean, I was advised not to do any of it and to just train new troops, which I find just really unbelievable. Anytime I would have wanted to heal, just make some fresh ones. And I guess we'll see once I have a lot of troops in the hospital exactly how expensive it is. I did at one point on my casual free-to-play account over the last 6 months get zeroed. And I did remember seeing that the resource cost is just really, really high if you want to rush heal your hospital. If you want to see the videos I was talking about VIP, card will be in the end screen. Or if you want to see the video about how to gain ridiculous amounts of experience really, really quickly, card will be in the end screen for that as well.